Order the public hearings of the City of Boston's Public Improvement Commission. Today is April 26, 2018. First segment of the hearings are the public hearings that are continued. First item on the agenda on a petition by Yorkie Way abutters for a street name change, renaming the entirety of Yorkie Way, which is a public way, Boston proper, between Brookline Avenue and Boylston Street, to be officially known in the future as an extension of Jersey Street. The new business hearing was held on March 15th, public hearing on March 29th of 2018, and the hearings were continued for April 12, 2018. We have the petition here. Good morning. Since this is a continued public hearing, could you add your testimony to your petition?
Good morning, David Friedman from the Boston Red Sox. I'd just like to thank the commissioners and Chairman Osgood for your professionalism, your attention to this very widely followed matter. And since we've had ample opportunity, as has the community, to submit our thoughts and testimony, we don't have anything further to add at this time unless you have anything that you'd like to ask.
Thank you. So over the last course of 6 weeks, we have heard very thoughtful and heartfelt input, both in writing and in person, by many of you. At this point, we will open the floor to any other additional comments that anyone feels compelled or would like to add to the record. So that being said, the floor is open for any additional public comment.
Good morning. Is this mic on? I don't know if I can have to talk right into it. Thank you. So I'm Russell Holmes. I have the honor of representing part of Mattapan, Dorchester, Hyde Park, Rosendale, and JP. And I thought it was most appropriate for me to come today because there's been a discussion that many people have carried around what is happening in the black community and what some of us are saying. And I thought it was most appropriate for me as a person who represents essentially the blackest district in the state to come and let you know what my constituents are saying. 7 out of 10 folks in my district are black. 92% of my district is of color. And so we know we live in a very immigrant city, but obviously this issue is cutting for what was happening for African Americans and why the decision was made. So I also wanted to come because I was very offended by the ad that was put out over the weekend. The ad that talked about we give it and we take it. And it sends really a message of old school politics. It really sent a message of arrogance. It really sent a message around what I would say white privilege here in the city. That essentially the African American community, here's this list of all of these folks that we've given you, somewhere in the neighborhood I heard of $300 million or so in the communities, and essentially you should shut up. That's how I hear it. That's how I see it. That's how I read it. And so the arrogance of it I found to be offensive, and I also found it to be essentially extortionist. It was essentially, we have given you this money, and if you take this from us, when you put the words give it and take it, it literally seems as though you're saying to all communities that we will take the money from you if you decide to take away the sign. That to me makes me now question your values. It makes me question, why were they doing this the entire time? Were they doing it to make sure the reputation of Mr. Yorkie stayed sound, or was they doing it, from a perspective of that they wanted to help our communities? Now, I'm a community that benefits immensely from the Yorkie Way, from the Yorkie Foundation. And so the Boys and Girls Clubs and the like, all of those places are very important to my district. And so when I have a conversation with neighbors in the district, we're concerned about the fact that the money would be lost, but that doesn't mean that we should lose our voices. So when I question folks' values, I also want you to question just the thoughts that you've heard from many, many people. You said you've heard from many people. If you saw the ad, you saw essentially the entire list of folks you've heard from who've been compromised. All of these folks, when they come and they advocate in one way or another, you literally could see the list from that ad of all the folks you may have heard from who are these powerful folks that have made statements essentially from our community. They should have recused themselves. They literally should have said, we've heard the word recusal often because of what's happening on the national stage, but literally they should have said, when this question comes up from the Yawkey, we're going to recuse ourselves because we sit on boards. We've been getting money. We've been doing things of that nature, and our statements can be construed as something that it could be tainted. And so I can tell you what I've heard. I've heard that we're not a big fan of the word Jersey Street. We don't love that word. We thought you could do a lot more than just simply Jersey Street and the renaming of the street. I can tell you I also heard clearly that the Yawkey Foundation should have been more compromising. You could have found a way to say, yes, we want to honor all the work of the Yawkey Foundation over all of these years, call it Yawkey Foundation Way. You could have done something. But to be so adamant and to make the statements that essentially nothing has happened when we were the last team in the country to integrate says that you've done several things. One is you've admitted no wrong. You think about what people say when they go into courts. They want to see remorse. They want to see that you take responsibility. And what they've done in all of these things, particularly with that ad again, no sense of responsibility, no sense of remorse, a sense from me, from the way I've spoken to people in the community I represent, which again I'm saying to you is 70% black. What we hear is, shut up, we've given you what you've been asking for, in the tune of about $300 million, and we should be able to keep our sign. So I'm here to say I'm not in agreement that it should stay Yawkey Way. I think that there should be a change. I can tell you we don't love Jersey Street, but if that's our only alternative, we would find a way, and probably it would be difficult in my community to convince them to keep Yawkey Foundation Way. I think that would have been much more of a compromise than simply coming here and saying that it must stay the same. Thank you.
Are there any additional comments by a member of the audience? Seeing or hearing none. A street name change, the PIC Commission sets a very high bar as to the criteria that includes 100% of all addressed abutters should be signing the petition. Ms. Cording, what do you have to report as to the validity of the petition?
100% of the addressed abutters voted in favor of changing the name from Yawkey Way to Jersey Street.
Thank you. Any further discussion by any commission members at this point? Hearing none.
Is ownership available? Are they going to testify? No.
Not at this time.
Not today.
At this point, I would like to call for a motion on this matter.
I'll make a motion to approve the petition by the Yawkey Way abutters for street name change as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda. Folks, if you want to, thank you. Grant of location to relocate gas regulator, station and associated infrastructure within Brook Street, Brighton, to be located on its westerly side between Woodmont Street and Nonnatham Road. The new business hearing was on March 29, 2018, with a public hearing on April 12, 2018, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston, Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of location plan, Brook Street at Nonnatham Road, Brighton, 5 sheets dated April 17, 2018. Please.
Good morning, John Bacchus, National Grid, Community and Customer Manager.
I'm Summer White for Project Engineering, National Grid.
So since your last hearing, what were the outstanding items that required resolution?
Discussions with the DOT.
I'm sorry, could you speak up?
Discussions with the DOT about possible easements on their property. We did make contact with the DOT finally, and they sent us an email which we forwarded to Todd and Amy. They informed us that no, they can't give us an easement. We have a copy of the email here for your view.
So as of today, last last week, we met with the Mass DOT regarding a parcel of land abutting the area that would like to install the regulator station. Mass DOT has addressed the issue and gave us a letter of refusal. That refusal is due to, as mentioned earlier, there's not too much property in Boston that's, buildable lots, and they feel as though they're going to address that lot and try to sell it with their real estate firm. So the area that we've picked on Brooks is an area that won't cause any interruption with them selling the parcel of land, and if you were to ever open up that roadway, we would have enough clearance to be able to manage it as though it is a roadway.
But if, as stated at prior hearings, if the city of Boston determines that for the reasons that the city has the purview to understand, and if your regulator pit needs to move, how would you address that? You're on the record.
I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't hear you.
If the regulator pit needs to move due to city of Boston's needs, how would you address that? Because the location which you have chosen is not ideal for the city.
Yep. As of today, that reg station would need to stay in that location. It would be able to be accessible for a roadway. We'd have to relocate it in another area that we have not been able to find accessible at this point.
But do I have your commitment that National Grid, using your own resources for a timetable that is convenient to the city, will relocate your assets from the location which you are seeking approval, should that need be there for the city in the future? The determination solely made by the city, not for your convenience, but the convenience of the city.
Of course, yes. You always have National Grid's commitment on that.
Even though you are asking the commissions to approve or give consideration to this board, it is not something which we desire. Please don't in any way take into account that this is the preferred or even the desirable way to do things. Okay.
Yes.
Anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this?
So it looks like this is the plan that reflects the Boston Water and Sewer comments. So I see the changes now that have been, okay, so this is the same plan that we,
I told them I'd take on the office on Monday.
excellent. And final question is, have you showed the MWRA this plan yet? Because you crossed the, okay, so you have an 8M permit or
We
whatever.
have all the permits from the NWRA.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions by commission members? If not, I'll call for a vote.
Petition by National Grid for a grant of location to relocate a gas regulator station and associated infrastructure within Brook Street is read into the record by the chair and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, Brook Street at Onantum Road, Brighton, 5 sheets dated April 17th, 2018.
Second?
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. The first item on the agenda under the public hearing segments of today's agenda. First item on a joint petition by Braintree Street Realty Limited Liability Company LLC and WJJ Realty Company LLC for the discontinuance of any and all rights to travel and public may have within a portion of Everett Street, a public way in Brighton, located north of Braintree Street. New business was on March 29, 2018, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Everett Street, Alston, 1 sheet dated March 22nd, 2018. Sir.
Thank you. David Tooney, and I'm representing Braintree Street Realty, LLC. And Chris Rainier is here representing WJG Realty, which is a Stop and Shop. They are an abutter to this project. My client, Braintree Street Realty, is an abutter to the street stub that we are seeking a discontinuance on. And we also have George Collins here, our engineer. This is a parcel of former Everett Street that is no longer used as a road. It's currently being used as a parking lot. And along with Stop and Shop, we are looking to have the parcel discontinued, and then we will acquire the parcel through City Council surplus proceedings, which will happen after the PIC order is issued, hopefully ordered. The petitioner and the co-petitioner, Stop and Shop, are requesting that the release deed, the PIC order, and 2 easements be recorded consecutively, and we're asking that that be in the order that the PIC issues. The 2 easements that I referenced are an easement to the Boston Water and Sewer Commission, which has already been negotiated and executed by Boston Water and Sewer Commission, and then there is also an easement where Braintree Street Realty grants to Stop and Shop the right to also access the street stub for any future utility connections beyond what they may need to do relative to water and sewer.
What is being asked, can that be done without?
Absolutely.
Okay. So they have the fee ownership of the street? No,
We have the fee ownership from the
ownership.
street. They're gonna get it from city council, and then we're gonna record the deeds and the easements and the cross easements all at once.
Has an understanding been attained as to the value of the parcel?
We had an appraisal done a couple years ago when we thought we were coming forward. That appraisal was in the $45,000 to $50,000 range.
All we are interested in is that you have an updated appraisal
We are.
that has been approved currently,
Yes.
not an old one, a
Yes.
new one that has been approved by the city. That action will be needed before we can take this item through city council. So there's time involved with
Yeah,
this.
we're in the process of getting it
Thank you.
updated.
Any comments by the audience? Seeing or hearing none. Comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none. I'd like to call for a motion.
Make a motion to approve the joint petition by Braintree Street Realty LLC and WJG Realty Company LLC for the discontinuance of any and all rights of travel the public may have had within a portion of Everett Street as written in the record by the chair and is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Discontinuance Plan, Everett Street, Alston, 1 sheet dated March 22nd, 2018.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Second item on the agenda,
Thank you.
on a petition by Haymarket Parcel 9 LLC and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Boston proper, consisting of curb realignment, roadway, sidewalk, and pedestrian ramp reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavement, street trees, street lighting infrastructure, irrigation infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, groundwater recharge infrastructure, private utility infrastructure, bike racks, bollards, planters, landscaping, and decorative metal inlays. The new business hearing was held on March 15, 2018. The limits are Blackstone Street at address number 99, located between North Street and Hanover Street. North Street on its northwesterly side between Blackstone Street and Fitzgerald Surface Street. Hanover Street on its southeasterly side between Blackstone Street and Fitzgerald Surface Street. John F. Fitzgerald Surface Street on its southwesterly side between North Street and Hanover Street. As shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan, John F. Fitzgerald Surface Road, North Street, Blackstone Street, Hanover Street, Public Ways, Boston, 5 sheets dated March 9, 2018. So, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Rebecca Lee. I'm with the law firm of Mintz Levin, and we represent the proponent here, who is a proponent with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, the current owner of this property, and behind me is Mark Boyle from MassDOT. To my left is Dick Galvin from CV Properties, the managing member of Haymarket Parcel 9 Investor LLC, the proponent, and to his left is John Schmidt, an engineer with Niche Engineering, who has prepared the specific repair plan in collaboration with the project architect and the project landscape architect. And I'll let Dick tell you a bit about the project.
Great, thank you.
There's a rendering up there.
Thank you, Rebecca, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. We are pleased to be here to advance this project. As we've stated in previous meetings, this is really 2 very important projects. One involves the reconstruction of Blackstone Street and creating a much more inviting and cohesive operation for the Haymarket pushcart vendors. And the second, of course, is the creation of this 215-key hotel, which we're quite excited about, on a very important and prominent site fronting on the Greenway. Not only will we be building the hotel with the appropriate public spaces to support the hotel, but we will also incorporate 1,600 square feet for the pushcart vendors within the hotel for storage purposes, bathrooms, et cetera. And again, we think the combination of all those efforts will create both a great hotel and a much more advanced pushcart operation. We'll have John go through a quick summary of the improvements, but I do want to make one quick statement. Since we last met, we've made incredible progress with Boston Water and Sewer on advancing a joint, I'll call it, process involving the reconstruction of the water line in Blackstone Street in conjunction with a lot of work Boston Water and Sewer is going to be doing nearby. And I have to say my hat's off to Boston Water and Sewer with the speed that this has happened has been quite incredible, and I think a great model for working cooperatively with city agencies. So with that, John, why don't you, I know we presented this already, I think we'll do a quick version if that's...
But since this is the public hearing, and it is a public hearing, John, you need to present it properly.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry. Yeah, you go.
So we'll start along with this Gerald Surface Road. We are realigning the curb to provide a drop-off for hotel uses. We're installing a poured concrete sidewalk. We have an area here with a raised planter system, and then we have a series of street trees that have irrigation and underground. We are relocating the tree lights that remain the same. We're also installing some bike racks. Minimum sidewalk width here is 14.7. We are reconstructing the sidewalks on our side. Both opposite sidewalks will be reconstructed under a separate contract. Along North Street, we are constructing a fourth concrete sidewalk with a raised planter system here, under drains and reconstructed as well. On Hanover Street, we are reconstructing the sidewalk here, fourth concrete sidewalk, 21-foot width. And then we're also carrying the Freedom Trail paver through here and replace it in kind. Along Blackstone, it gets a little more complicated. Blackstone falls within the landmarks jurisdiction, so we've had meetings with landmarks. We've had meetings. Landmarks has approved this design. Disabilities has approved this design, and we are working with the state MEAB on a variance for some of the improvements that were just not feasible. We will have a flush curb condition building to building. We have a poured concrete sidewalk on our side. The roadway geometry will drain to the center. We have a series of catch basins. That's in the process of going through Boston Water and Sewer approval. On this side, per landmark's request, we are replacing the existing curb in kind. We're installing new concrete sidewalk where the existing sidewalks are not being protected. We do have an area where we have some granite pavers where we intend to replace those in kind and maintain them. We have an area here that's granite pavers that are covered, so once we uncover those pavers, we're going to work with the Disabilities Commission as well as the landmarks to understand the appropriate corrective measures. We have some old brick pavers here that we're going to replace with city wire brick pavers, and we have some concrete down here. But at the end of the day, we'll have smooth pedestrian egress across the area without any tripping hazards, so the market can continue their operations in a better setting.
Thank you.
I just have one point of clarification. The jurisdiction of the Boston Landmarks Commission on Blackstone Street extends to the southern sidewalk only. It does not include the roadway and the northern sidewalk, and they have approved these improvements.
As mentioned at the new business hearing, could you please add testimony to the extent which you care to articulate your coordination with the Haymarket Pushcart Association and how you would manage their operations or how their operations are supposed to be managed during the time you are going to be building this?
Yes. So we've been having a series of meetings with the pushcart vendors as recently as Tuesday to go through, I'll call it the interim construction management plan to keep them operational. We will execute an access agreement with MassDOT so that they can use their site for their operations while we reconstruct Blackstone Street, literally on the heels of water and sewer, fixing that water line. That will all be carefully coordinated through that process, so they'll never have to stop operations. And again, what we like about the plan is the first order of business is to reconstruct Blackstone Street before we do any other work on the hotel. So once we finish that work, they'll have Blackstone Street, and again, we'll do normal coordination on, I'll call construction activities when they are not in operation, and then they'll have full access to it. And in the finished condition, what we're excited about is there'll be a series of bollards which will help them in their setups and be much more coordinated and efficient going forward. The bollards will also have outlets, and they'll also have access to water mains at our hotel base, which will, again, provide a much more efficient, and we hope clean operation relative to cleanup after the fact.
Thank you.
So the way I'm looking at this construction management plan sequencing is water and sewer will get in there and basically do their thing. Then you folks will come in there and read Blackstone Street, then we start the hotel construction. So when do you see that happening as far as the hotel?
So, again, because there's a series of projects going forward, we think water and sewer will be done, and I know Steve Eustace is here, you might be able to, with CV Properties, answer that question.
So the water line
Sir,
work,
if you could identify yourself for the record.
I'm sorry. my
If you
name
could
is Steve
identify,
Eustace.
thank you.
I'm sorry, Steve Eustace with CV
You
Properties.
can speak there, sir.
Steve Eustace with CV Properties. So right now, the plan would be the water line work would happen in July and August for the Boston Water and Sewer. And then we start with our Blackstone Street work August 27th. And we would be complete October 20th with the Blackstone Street work. And then we would start the hotel construction work immediately after that.
And again, one of the things we're pleased about is the intense sort of coordination with water and sewer allowed what we were fearful of, kind of a really stretched out process, allowed us to be nimble enough that we can actually be in the ground in the hotel in October.
Yeah, so thank you for the kind words. This was a great coordination, but there was more than just water and sewer involved. A lot of agencies came together. Yeah. So for anyone watching at home or listening, there's going to be a lot of construction in this area in the near future. But this is a huge win for the city, I think, because there's a lot of agencies with a lot of different capital plans that don't necessarily align with each other. And everything came together on Cross Street, across the Greenway from here, where we're redoing the pipes under the street, and then we're going to be able to redo and preserve the brand new plaza. Same exact thing here on Blackstone Street. We're going to really improve the situation for the Haymarket. And all of this work is in coordination with the North Washington Street Bridge. So the amount of investment in this portion of the city, I think, is going to pay dividends for decades to come. Everyone just has to bear with the construction for a while.
Any further comments by commission members?
We still have the areaway agreements for the construction that's gonna happen along the businesses, along Blackstone. They own the areaways, they own the sidewalk above it, it's getting replaced, we need something from them,
What timeline would you need, Amy, for that action?
just pre-construction.
Pre-construction? Do you want that thing to be part of the vote or for your recording purposes?
Yeah,
If you-
prior to reporting.
Prior to recording, so if you could abide by the staff's wishes.
That's next on our list, that coordination effort.
Any comments by the members of the audience? Seeing or hearing none?
I'd just like to say one thing, is the tour bus issue is still not resolved. I know that the consultant has given alternate locations, some of which are by the residential area of the north end. We're very leery of that. So that's a further discussion that needs to happen.
It's important, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you comfortable with the?
Yes.
Please.
Young, Disabilities Commission for the City of Boston. We just like to testify that we work with the proponent over the designs. They do still have a pending MAB variance. We are not aware of the outcome yet, so just to be aware of that. I believe it did go to hearing this Monday, and the results have not been mailed out.
John, if the variance is not approved, how will the plans be affected?
They had the hearing on Monday, and the variance was not approved, but we are in continued dialogue to work for a solution. MAB came back with a sample that they've done on another project, so we're waiting for that, and I'm going to work with them to bring it through. If we do not have the variance, then we are going to have to work. If we do not have the variance, we're going to have to work closely with the abutter who owns this law because it is out of our jurisdiction.
So we're planning a site visit so they can see exactly, this is a difference between a 2 and a 3% grade. It's a very large series of granite slabs, and removing them and replacing them could upend all kinds of untoward and unforeseen circumstances. So we want to take them out for a site visit, much as we did with Landmarks and with Sarah and her colleagues, to take a look at what the situation is and see what the resolution can be.
So with regards to that southern sidewalk, I fully understand we do not want a finished condition that is a patchwork condition. I get that. Disabilities wants to see a nice consistent surface. I do want to point out that historically, this is a very historically important spot in the United States, in North America. Not just Boston, not just downtown, but this is the literal cradle of liberty. I've talked about this before. So with the fully reconstructed street that is raised up to sidewalk grade, I think there's an opportunity to share both accessibility issues and historic preservation. And whatever makes sense to preserve that won't result in like a patchwork, I'd love to see a lot of that granite preserved. You know, this is where Paul Revere used to hang out. So.
The intent is to preserve the granite. That's
Yeah.
the intent of the project. It's just if it's feasible to make it ADA compliant or not, and that's the challenge we have.
Yeah, so I guess my pitch is that I'm hoping that the rest of the street being up and flush and brand new and level goes a long way.
Amy, everything is okay?
Yep.
So any other further discussions by commission members? Hearing none, call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by Haymarket Parcel 9 Investor LLC and the Mass Department of Transportation making of specific repairs within Blackstone Street, North Street, Hanover Street, and John F. Fitzgerald Surface Road, as read into the record by the chair, and as shown on a set of plans, entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, John F. Fitzgerald Surface Road, North Street, Blackstone Street, Hanover Street, Public Ways, Boston, 5 sheets dated March 9th, 2018.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Third item on the agenda, on a petition by the trustees of Boston University for the making of specific repairs within Beacon Street, Boston proper, at address number 610, at its intersection with Bay State Road, consisting of a new campus place marker sign. New business was heard on April 12, 2018. As shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan, 610 Beacon Street, Public Way, Boston, 1 sheet dated April 2018. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Paul Rinaldi with Boston University. I'm here with Chelsea Christensen of Niche Engineering. The matter before you is an amendment to our specific repair. The specific repair was submitted to you last year. It's in regards to a project at Miles Standish, 610 Beacon Street, and the establishment of a plaza at the confluence of Beacon, Bay State Road, and Charles Gate West. The matter before you is amending that to allow for the sign. And I'll ask Chelsea to go into some details. But before I do, when we introduced this a couple of weeks ago, there was a question from a member of the board about the canopy that's on Bay State Road. I didn't have the answer. The canopy was redesigned as part of our initial submission so that it is on a 12-foot sidewalk. It is only extending 7.5 feet from the building. It also has the proper height from the sidewalk. Chelsea?
Hi, Chelsea Christensen from Niche Engineering. The canopy was also all approved in a canopy plan, license plan, back in 2016. The improvements we're proposing now include a sign that you see at the top right here. It's about 7.5 feet by 3.5 feet high. Top of the sign is about 5 feet off the ground. The other improvement is we are requesting to adjust 2 light locations. We have worked with Boston Street Lighting, and they have approved the locations as we currently show on the plans you have now.
Okay, we have things in writing. Members of the audience, seeing or hearing none, members of the commission.
Just like to make one comment. I was out there the other day. It looks very nice.
Thank you.
It really does.
We appreciate
Really
cooperation
went
from the
into-
city and everybody in the traffic. And
Yep.
It's a tight little corner to do a lot of work.
I think it'll make a big difference.
Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by the trustees of Boston University for the making of specific repairs within Beacon Street, as read into the record by the chair and as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repairs Plan, 610 Beacon Street, Public Way, Boston, one sheet dated April 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next and last item on the agenda today, on a petition by the City of Boston Parks and Recreation Department for the making of specific repairs within Canterbury Street, West Roxbury, on its northerly side at the rear of 1 Circuit Drive located between Morton Street and American Legion Highway, consisting of a new place marker sign and driveway curb cut. This was heard under new business on April 12, 2018. All this is shown on the plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan, Boston Parks and Recreation Department Maintenance Yard Driveway at Canterbury Street, 1 Circuit Drive, Jamaica Plain, 2 sheets dated April 26, 2018. Sir.
Hi, my name is Jesse Bredar, representing Boston Parks, and we're here to request a curb cut on Canterbury Street, just south of Franklin Park, providing access to the maintenance yard. Yeah, I think it's a fairly straightforward plan. All the minimums are being met, pretty much.
So again, this is an interim phase, correct?
Yes.
Got one question. It was going down American Legion by the Franklin Park Golf Course. You've taken out the wall and across the sidewalk. What's going on there?
I'm Kyle Zick from Kyle Zick Landscape Architecture. Those blocks have been removed temporarily just to repave, and the blocks will be put back.
Okay, and you're redoing the sidewalk too?
Not the sidewalk, just the paving. The paving, the asphalt paving is in alignment with the sidewalk up to the street line, but not a concrete sidewalk.
Okay, just if the contractor could just pull a permit with us. I don't think there's a permit on record with occupying the public sidewalk.
All right, I'll relay that to them.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. Any question from the audience? Any questions or comments by fellow commission members? Seeing or hearing none, I'd like to call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve petition by the City of Boston Parks and Recreation Department for specific repairs within Canterbury Street, as read into the record by the chair, and shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repair Plan, BPRD Maintenance Yard Driveway at Canterbury Street, 1 Circuit Drive, Jamaica Plain, 2 sheets dated April 26, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
That concludes the business for today. I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.